building a dome or some
Yeah,
other structure?
yeah, rounded structures, domes seem awesome. The stuff you've been doing is great. I watch your stuff. I watch Ernie Hancock and all the channels you guys recommend.
Yeah, he's got a lot of good information, Ernie.
And I'm on the same page as you guys. Like
Yeah, rounded
I went
structures,
to
domes seem awesome.
Egypt and Peru, saw the ancient structures and all the curves, and it was like it got me thinking that I don't want to live in the square box structures. I know you guys mentioned that stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to what what most people learned a long time ago, which was feng shui, and about the energies of a room. Except now we have a better understanding of that feng shui, and yeah, I mean, it pays to build with the correct geometry so that you can benefit energetically wise as well. So you could be living in a structure that's actually benefiting your own health. Yeah, I was thinking of a new idea about during the winter time, since I can't do much work here in Colorado. I was thinking that I could rent my equipment and services out to people who want to build a structure, um, like uh, who want to build a structure with the airform that I currently have already. So, I have about 5 or 6 different airforms that could be used. And, the thought was really just to help people build something inexpensively that's really strong. So, and also with the speed that you can build using an airform. And I was thinking about um, uh, assisting people in their own builds. I'm not going to come out to build a structure for someone, but I will come out to assist them in their build and show them how to build with the equipment I would bring. And so my thinking was I can probably do something like that, help people save a lot of money because to buy the equipment that I have, it's extremely expensive. So I'm thinking I could rent the equipment out. So for a certain amount of a certain fee, I'm not sure exactly what that would be, for me to come out maybe with 2 other people and assist a homeowner in building their home. Since any homeowner can be their own contractor, um, that's why I would be assisting the homeowner in building their home and not building it for them because I'm not a contractor in anywhere, in any state in this country.
Yeah, that makes sense. And if it's too cold there, I'm in Texas. We're probably thinking of moving to like North Houston area where it's not going to have a harsh winter, but could have some rain. Sounds like a good idea. Yeah, I can hear you again now. Can still hear you on the call. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, one, two, three. Can you hear me on YouTube? Let's see. One, two, three. Okay. Okay. Looks like have sound. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties here. This camera I'm using seems to be overheating for some reason. I don't know why. It's not even hot in here. You can see I'm wearing a hat. um, okay, cool. So, hey, everyone in YouTube, you guys can click on the Zoom link and join us and chat live right now. And I guess everything I've been saying to Jeff, I'll just repeat. Anyone interested, just click on the link. So I've been telling Jeff my idea I recently had about renting out my airforms to people just so that they can save a lot of money on building. Instead of purchasing an airform, you could just rent it and save a lot of money on the airform expense. And well, my thought process is I'd come out with a variety of different size airforms that we would then mount and spray a reinforced concrete shell on the airform And um, once completed, the homeowner would insulate it themselves. And then you could use Aircrete or Epic or Styro Aircrete or any number of cement insulation mixes. And anyway, that's the basic idea. I just came up with it a few days ago. And I wanted to run it past people to get their thoughts on it. And also I'm testing out this whole system here. Hey, Ralph. Yes, yes, yes. Come on in. Join the Zoom call. Reconnection successful. All right, cool. How's it going, Ralph? So anyway, my idea involves traveling south, like Texas and Florida and the southern states, where it's nice and warm. I see you there. Let's go put this. Okay. This is all new to me. This is all new to me, setting this up live. I'm trying to get this all figured out. Okay. Let me get to some writing here.
How you doing, Harry?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Hanging in there, surviving.
That's good. Surviving. Next move is to start thriving.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
I think that's the ultimate goal for most people. I'm working on that myself now. Still
Yeah.
working on getting the house finished, and then, thankfully we got some chickens, so that helps. We got the chickens when the eggs were incredibly expensive. Thank goodness that passed. But
Yeah.
it's great to have our own chickens because we know what we're feeding them, and we're getting fresh eggs every day. So
Cool.
that's really nice.
I think my battles with the county have subsided, so they tend to leave me alone now.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
So
it's really having your own land, having your land patent for your property.
yeah, I mean that would be great to have. There's a lot more involved. What's up, Daniel? So you're looking to build a dome or some other type of structure on your property?
Yeah. I talked to you once before about collaborating, maybe doing a workshop out here in California.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, I remember that. You were in
Yeah.
Northern California, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in the process of trying to acquire a well drilling rig so I could drill my own well. So,
All right. Trying to save yourself some serious money there, huh?
oh yeah, they're not cheap around here.
Well,
For half the price, I could buy a rig and do it myself. I've drilled 3 wells before, so
oh, good. All right. Yeah, so you got your experience. Yeah, I'm holding
yeah,
water where I am because they do a lot of fracking around here, so it's not
yeah.
the well water is not very good, so we have to
Uh,
haul out here.
oh, that's too bad. That's
Yeah,
what I've been doing now is hauling water.
yeah, it's a new experience for me. I've been doing it a few years now, but compared to coming from New York City, where
Yeah,
everything was readily available,
yeah.
to having to
I
haul my own water.
I've been following you since you were in New York.
Yeah,
You
thank
know,
you.
with
Appreciate
the test that you were doing. It's like, whoa, I like this guy.
it.
He's done the homework for us. Thanks,
Yeah,
Harry.
yeah, yeah. It's been my pleasure. It's definitely been a pleasure to take everyone along on my journey, so we can all learn and know how to do things for ourselves more efficiently and economically and all that other good stuff.
Yeah. But if you ever want to learn how to acquire your land patent, reach out to me and I'll walk you through the steps.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's actually pretty simple.
Because I've heard about it, and but I didn't speak to anyone who actually did it. So yeah, we'll definitely communicate in the future. I would definitely be interested in hearing about that, because I know that just protects you, as well as another great thing to protect anybody now is a trust. They could put any property they have in a trust, and it'll protect them big time.
Private trust, but here's the thing: a trust can be broken, a land patent can't. The land patent is protected by here in Northern California by the Guadalupe Hidalgo Treaty. You don't break treaties, because you break a treaty, that's a declaration of war.
Yeah.
So people don't understand that aspect of it.
Yeah. So, for anybody on the channel who didn't hear, my idea has been about renting airforms to people, and so they can build their own structures inexpensively and save a lot of money on a ton of equipment. And so that was something I wanted to. Yeah, that's something, that was an idea I was looking to run past people and see what they thought. And the basic idea is I would come out to assist a homeowner who's looking to build their own home. And that's an important part, because the homeowner can become their own contractor. Or I would work with whoever the homeowner hires as a contractor. It's fine with me. Either way, I'm coming out with the airforms and all of the equipment needed to build the structure. So concrete pump, shotcrete, air compressors.
Pay you for your knowledge as a consultant.
Well, yeah, that's the idea. And for a fee, I'm not sure the numbers yet. I'm thinking anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000, and depending on what's being used as far as the airforms. I would come out, and there'd be other little expenses like room and board and hotel, motel, whatever, Airbnb, and fuel. So not much, but I was doing some basic calculations, and if you do a Google search as to the cost to build a home right now, I saw ranges from $100 to $300 per square foot, depending on what's being done.
Oh, crazy.
And so that's insane. And I know you could build yourself for anywhere from $10 to $20 a square foot, building it yourself. Now, of course, you need the equipment, and then that's where it gets more expensive. But the actual cost of the home itself would cost you $10 to $20 a square foot. So that's a massive saving to build yourself. So I was watching some video on YouTube of a guy building a tiny house. And he was doing a beautiful job, traditional stick frame, tiny house. And just for the shell with no insulation, so we're talking about a trailer and a tiny house he built on there. He was at $60,000.
Holy cow.
It's just for a shell, and he didn't do anything fancy. It was a very nice looking tiny house. I'll see if I could find the name of that so people can look it up themselves. But
when you have to pay retail for materials and stuff, it gets so expensive.
Yeah. And then the thing that I can't stand is stick frame homes will go up with one match. One single match can take out an entire stick frame house. So and I'm talking about building concrete structures that could potentially last centuries. You could pass it down to your kids, and 15 generations below you, you could be passing this house down. That's how solidly built they are, and they're
That's
so
what you
resistant.
need to go with Aircrete, Harry. Is I was a framer for 35 years, and I'm all fused up in my back. I'm not building a wood stick house. They burn, especially out here in California. That's why I'm going with Aircrete, and they're not approved for California building codes. So I've had to get my land patent, so I don't have to ask permission.
Now that's the beauty of what I'm doing with
Yeah.
renting my services with the Airform, my consultation with the equipment, because my structures can be approved in any county in the country. Besides dealing with HOA stuff, all that aside, if you could get approved to build one of these structures, it'll pass all the requirements that's needed because they're all structurally engineered, right? What I'm talking about doing is helping to build a reinforced concrete shell. So any engineer would approve a structurally reinforced concrete shell. And also what I've done this year is I had a bunch of cement insulations, I had them R value tested. So I had a very light mix of Aircrete tested, and I have a R value engineer result. So we have the paperwork that's needed to be able to legally use Aircrete as an insulation material, because I'm talking about building reinforced concrete shells that you would then insulate with the Aircrete. And the idea is after we leave with our equipment, we leave you standing with a reinforced concrete shell that you then take your time and insulate it. So you could do a styrocrete, right, with styrofoam and Portland cement. You could do a styro aircrete with styrofoam mixed in with aircrete. You could do an epic mix. And so there's a few cement insulation mixes that could be mixed up, and the homeowner could take their time and apply it, and at their own leisure. But they'd have a reinforced concrete shell that would be solid. And then what I like to do is highly recommend the paint that have the ceramic beads in it, because they act as an incredible thermal barrier. And so the other beauty of the airforms is once you remove the airform, if done right, you're left with a perfectly smooth wall that's ready for painting. So you're not looking at having to scrape any Aircrete to make it smooth, and then having to apply a mesh and a stucco to reinforce like an Aircrete dome, right? Because we're not building with bricks. We're doing everything monolithic. The other benefit is it's done within a week. So the airform, like my largest airform that I have, is 24 feet wide by 64 feet long. So we can mount that airform. That works out to about 1,400 square feet. So that could be mounted. We spray a reinforced concrete shell, and that could be done within 2 to 3 days. So if a foundation is ready, let's just say, for example, and that's the ideal situation, is the ring beam or
I think we lost you, Harry.
Hey Ralph, is that you?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. I'm Daniel. I'm like you, I've been following Harry for a long time.
Yes, I have. Harry's a genius, man.
Oh no, I've been following him, gosh, for years.
Yeah.
This is my second Zoom call of my life. I'm 65 years old. So
Yeah, I'm 58.
I got off. I got out of all the social media stuff. It got crazy.
Yeah.
And we're. I don't know, Harry. Are you there? Can you hear us, host? Yeah, yeah, we got you. You
There we
sound
go.
loud and clear. Go ahead, Harry.
And shutting off, which is
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
it's taking me off of YouTube as well. Let's see. Okay, I should be back on YouTube as well.
Yeah. Hey, Harry, thanks for letting us do this. You're the third YouTuber I've talked to live, by phone, cell phone, private to private. Third YouTuber in my life.
I'm happy to be the third.
Well, hey, I know we're all new here, but it's like we know you, Harry, because I've been following you for years. I mean, not every video, but I've been comparing what I learned from you early on years ago to every other YouTuber type of dome home builder, materials, you name it, around the world. So, hey, I came in on yours today.
Cool. I'm glad you were able to join us today. So, what do you guys think of the idea that I threw out there about consulting and bringing the equipment?
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I agree. And Harry, like Ralph said, let's face the reality. I mean, I've been in Missouri, the middle part of the country, all my life, except when I served in the military for 3 years and was gone around the world. But the reason I came in, Ralph, I appreciate you being here too and hearing that. Harry, no, I someone like myself. That's why I came in on this. Only when I have the funding, totally, whatever I think it's going to cost, 3 to 5 times more than my highest estimate before I even start a project, Harry. But Ralph, you put in your 2 cents worth on this one. But I've been working with the family for almost 7 years in the Philippines, and they got hit by the worst typhoon in the modern history of our world in our lifetime. And I don't know, I tried to put up the picture earlier. We've got about 10 hectares, which is over 20 acres to build on. And that may not be the final spot, but I'm planning on going there probably in 30 to 45 days. And we've been working toward this idea, Harry, like you're talking about, where someone, not necessarily even all your equipment, but you have a value. And I know it's hard to price your value, but like you said earlier, if you're going to do a project, whether it's domestically in continental 48 or overseas somewhere, I found a few groups have done this, but you need somebody who is financially capable of beginning a project and paying you for whatever time, even if it was just 5 to, say, a week or 2. You know, you decide all expenses paid, like you said, your accommodations, travel, food. No, you have value. That's why I came in on yours, Harry, today. So I'm just putting that out there to you and Ralph and any other like-minded people, because I'm not a curious YouTuber just thinking out loud. I mean, it's some we've been looking at the costs, the materials, following you, Harry, and 3 others. Like South Industries, are you familiar with them? I've been in contact with them for maybe design.
Yeah, I know Monolithic. That's where the airforms that I'm referring to, that's where I purchased mine, were from Monolithic. And so, like I mentioned, I have a variety of Monolithic airforms, and the beauty with those airforms are they are reusable, and they have a lot of strength to them, you know, so they could withstand a lot of pressure, and they could withstand a lot of weight. So you could, if I'm not mistaken, you can just about apply all of the cement and rebar at one time onto the airform, because of the air pressure. I think it's like 5 or 6 atmospheric pressures. It just holds all the weight up, and so it's really incredible.
I have a question for you, Harry.
Yeah, what's that?
With your airforms, how long does it take for the airform to blow up and take shape? Do you run it off of a generator or or off the on the grid?
I run it off the generator because I'm off grid here, so everything's my solar and generator. But when I was building my domes, I had the blowers on probably like 7 days straight. So while the blowers were on, I didn't risk it, and I just left the generator on also the entire time. Because the last thing I wanted was for the blowers to fail and the airfoam deflate before the concrete got a chance to set. And because with the Tyvek airforms that I make myself, they're a low pressure system. They can't withstand a lot of weight. So I have to build my layers up slowly. So it might take me 3 days in total to spray one airform, because I have to build the layers up so that the layers themselves start supporting the weight and they hold the weight up. So because of that, I have to do it slowly. So if it takes me 3 days, that means my blower's got to be running 3 days straight. But yeah, otherwise, some of the tips and tricks that I've learned is, if you're gonna have to run a generator that long, get a dual fuel generator that'll run off of propane, and get a big like 100-gallon propane tank, because having to fill that little 5-gallon or 10-gallon tank every X amount of hours is a pain. So having a bigger propane tank, you don't have to be concerned. That generator will run for days off of that. And so that's a tip that I learned, because I did have a generator fail on me once. It didn't fail, it just ran out of gas. And then my blower shut off, and then it was a race to fill the gas up and get everything back going again.
Hey, Harry, have you ever considered or worked out the math or know anybody who actually did it? Because what we're looking at is the off-grid. To give you my background, I did electric cars on rideshare. I was one of the top electric rideshare drivers in America. And then I retired. And I've been working on this project while doing the other. But we had a group meet back here in Missouri, 38 of us internationally from around the world. A small group of 38 people who have been in an electric car circuit since, ready for this, since 1982. And there's one of us still driving his car.
Wow.
Went off solar, off grid. And 38 of us got together with a woman. She's single, never married, no kids. Her father died. And he invested in Tesla from day one to the day he died. And left it all to her and her mom.
Nice.
And she's in Cebu. And I didn't want to even attempt to reach out or talk to anybody like you, Harry, until, we're into the 3 to 4 month window of considering design, people, team building. I mean, I've looked at the seminars from Texas to South Industries to Equipment International, and you are the key ones of all the ones I found on YouTube. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you here.
Yeah, great. I'm glad we were able to talk. I just had this idea to do a live Zoom call. And by the way, anyone watching right now on YouTube, you can click on the link and join this call, and we can chit chat. But yeah, I think for your idea of helping to build some domes, I really like the monolithic airforms because they're reusable. You can reuse them. You can reuse them up to 100 times or more, depending on how well you take care of the airforms. So.
How many times could they be reused?
100 times or more, depending on how well you maintain the airforms.
Yeah, Harry, see, I mean, it's not to stroke your ego. You're doing great, man. But I was on a bill during the pandemic. They got the base done, the form up, and then a bad accident with the 3 key guys on the thing. And so, I mean, I want you to know how serious I am about why I want to talk to you individually and people like Ralph, who are serious, have either participated in a project like you built many of them, and I've seen some of the key question I have for you today, if you would answer this one, is the coating on the rebar inside the structure. What is it? Balsalt? What do they call that? I'm not a technician. I'm more of a coordinator than I am an expert in anything.
Basalt rebar.
Yeah, basalt rebar. How is that coated, or how is that soaked, or is it pre-treated when you buy it that way? What would you recommend, Harry?
So, can you hear me? Okay, here we go. Yeah, my camera keeps overheating. The basalt rebar I think is great because it doesn't rust. It's lightweight. It allows you to build your concrete even thinner, because the whole thing with the rebar is, let's just say this is a slab of concrete. Ideally, you want your rebar right in the middle so that it's protected from the water, because if your rebar is up close to the surface or to the edge of the concrete slab, the water could get in there, the rebar could rust, and that'll weaken your concrete structure. So the beauty is with the basalt, it doesn't matter. So you can be a really thin concrete, to cover it, because the basalt won't rust. It won't rust, and also is great for any coastal areas.
Yeah, we lost you. I intend to use basalt rebar in my construction also. But with my fused up back, I've got to do the igloo style. Just put the blocks together, and then I was just going to drill through the blocks and use basalt up through it. Rather than having milk jugs hang off the side, I'll just make these special clips that attach to the basalt rebar after I motor them together, and it tend to hold itself up. Is my theory.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Ralph, and your input on that, and yours too, Harry. Do you see this picture I tried to... like I said, this is my third time ever trying to do this. So, I don't know. Can you see a picture I put up where I guess it's... I don't know. Do you see a bamboo hut with tin on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a family. It's Cunha Manuel Terraza Fabricante. That's outside of Tacloban City, Leyte, region number 8, where Hurricane Yolanda was the worst recorded typhoon in the history in the last 20, 30 years on Earth. And I kept telling them, I paid them to move out of the city to have a secondary place. And that's the reason I put up that picture. It's in that vicinity, not that particular location, because we have a chicken farm. They got mad at me. I forced them to sell all the pigs. We had 29 pigs during the pandemic. I thought a swine flu pandemic was coming before the worldwide pandemic. So we're not always right about everything, right, Harry? That's so. What I'm inquiring with you, Harry, personally, is if it worked into your scheduling and our timing sometime in 2024, down the road, for a consultant like you wouldn't necessarily have to bring your equipment, but I could go ahead before the build, source the materials, do all that before we even begin. Because I'm older, hopefully a little wiser, like Ralph there. Hey, watch the mistakes that other people make. And that's why your expertise to us, Harry, is invaluable. I don't know how you could price it, but I think what you mentioned earlier, Harry, is reasonable, don't you, Rob?
Oh, yeah.
So,
There's something there. I previously talked to Harry about possibly coming out here and doing a workshop on my property. But, a few developing situations kind of prevents that from happening right now. But I would love to do a collaboration with Harry.
Yeah, that's because one thing I like it is not about quantity; it's about quality of expertise.
Yeah, it's true, because I've made a ton of mistakes, and that's what I have to bring. How to avoid all the mistakes.
Well,
I
that's
think
what I mean by invaluable.
that's what I like about Harry. He's not ashamed to show his mistakes.
Well, no.
It was a learning lesson, that's for sure.
That's it. It's all R&D.
When 38 of us got together, I think 4 guys brought their own electric car builds from foreign countries. This is in a small town in southeast Missouri, here in America. 38 of us got together for 5 days to brainstorm like we're doing right now. And these guys, some of them are experts in solar, exchangeable battery packs, electric car builds, off-grid stuff. And all we did for 5 days and nights, I mean, we had a few get-togethers and a couple of big parties and stuff, but to celebrate the life of the man like you're doing, Harry, and the number of people he affected around the world. His YouTube channel, I think it was evtv.me. It was a guy by the name of, I'm drawing a blank on EVTV Kate Gerardo. And he passed away about 2.5 years ago. But he was the guy who kept telling his viewers, like Harry's doing right now, Harry. That's why I'm trying to encourage you. Also, he told people to buy Tesla from day one to the day he died.
That's definitely smart.
And it wasn't on a whim, because this guy was building, like you're doing, Harry, starting with the concept, just put it on YouTube. And he didn't make the money off YouTube, but he had 162 countries with, I don't know, several million views around the world. Wasn't a big group, but 38 of us showed up to honor him 2 years after he died, Harry.
Wow, that's awesome.
So you don't understand the outreach of what you're doing. So I wanted to come in here and thank you for the years I've been following you, because you remind me of him, because he wasn't afraid to show his mistakes. And a lot of people, they're doing this fluffy, clickbait kind of stuff just to get viewership or people clicking on their videos. This guy just told it like it was. I mean, he wasn't a political guy, but he was like you. He's like, we gotta figure out how to get off-grid, do things differently, think outside the box. And here you've gotten rid of the box, Harry, so kudos to you.
Yeah, we're outside the box. I like to keep it round. So this is the I just wanted to say real quick, this is the video I was talking about earlier. This guy here, he built this tiny house on the trailer, and it's a beautiful tiny house on the trailer. You can see here the exterior. He did a great job. Only problem I have is for this shell and the trailer, he spent $60,000. And that just blew my mind when he said that.
For something that's common.
Yeah,
I can't even comprehend spending that much money on something so small. When we could build a 1,200 square foot home for about $18,000 in materials. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. So,
it doesn't burn down.
Exactly.
You guys, Ralph and Harry, check this out. Odd that you mentioned that price, Harry, because I just saw a video of an American in the Philippines. He did a $60,000 off-the-grid house, but he does have a grid-tied solution with it, which we're going to build. We don't want it. And because of ingenuity with your creativity and experiences, we also want to potentially do a hydro solar-powered pumping type system. No perpetual free energy kind of stuff, nothing like that, but just do it kind of like you've been doing, Harry. Do it experimentally, and I don't want to do YouTube. I don't, like I said, if you Google me, hashtag, I think Dan the Driving Man, you'll see who you're talking to. And I'm a private, quiet person. We're not doing something for public display. But if a YouTuber like you, Harry, would want to do it on your channel, I'm the behind the scenes guy. If you look at EVTV, I think it's evtv.me on YouTube. I didn't even make an appearance on their platform or their channel, and his daughter is carrying on in honor of his father, her father, who was like you, Harry. He thought outside the box and was right when 99% of the people were not even on board or knowing what was going on. So, yeah, I don't want to overkill the kudos to you, Harry, but hey, it's up to us to think outside the box. If we do something successfully, then get the word out there and hopefully get other motivated, sincere individuals who want to do the hard, hands-on labor and investment to make it successful for many others, hopefully a million or more people to succeed at what you're doing, Harry.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. And, all this started with me wanting to build for myself. And, when I was still in New York, I was receiving comments and emails from people like yourself telling me how much they appreciate my work, how much I've helped them, how much I've saved them, money-wise. And it just felt good, it felt good. And so my thought process since New York has always been everything I do, I'm going to try and do and think of it with everyone else in mind who's watching the channel. Like I told some people before, I could have built my domes a lot sooner because my buddy gave me these corrugated forms that were perfectly shaped. I could have easily put them together, filled it with concrete, got everything done. But afterwards I was thinking, man, other people wouldn't be able to replicate this because they can't get these forms. And so I wanted to, that's when I came up with the system I did for building the foundations as easily and inexpensively as possible. And I feel like I've accomplished that. And, all in the name of making things easier and less expensive for everybody. And so I feel really good about the system I've come up with. And, I just love sharing ideas. Like, I haven't even shared all my ideas when it comes to building. And then I got a billion other ideas on all types of subject matters that I'm considering making multiple YouTube channels to discuss. Because I can easily have channels just to discuss ideas and just to get them out, because a lot of ideas I have, I don't hear from anyone else. Not that there's no one else out there thinking similar, but when I do a search for it, I just don't see it. So then I just say I came up with it. It's my idea. First time ever, ever thought of on the history of Earth.
Hey, you're so right, Harry. And I'll give you, I'll validate a proof, concept. As I said, this is the third, second or third Zoom call I've ever done in my life. The last time I was on a Zoom call, there were 70 some of us. It was with Drive Electric. It was with the National EVA, Association for Electric Vehicles, and the leader, Region Fellows of the group, and her moderator. They asked for ideas and suggestions, and I made one. To show you how powerful that can be. It's just from observing, like I'm doing with what you've been doing for several years, as I observed with the electric car sector. I said, it doesn't make sense. Why are you having this event in September when you can have the Drive Electric events on Earth Day? Well, even with the pandemic, in 2019, the Region Fellows, she liked my idea. And if you look or Google Drive Electric Earth Day events around the world, I think there were over 200 of them last year, post-pandemic, around the world.
Nice.
So that's how powerful a platform like you have, Harry, is. One Zoom call can change the world.
Yeah.
And Harry, all it took was 3 of us. And I noticed you got 4 people in there.
Yeah.
Never underestimate the power of creativity. Because when you're doing the hands-on work, And Jack Rickard was the man's name. He, about that same time, 12, 14 years ago, he got fed up with high gas prices and all the fossil fuel traditional industry. So he started building his own electric cars. And I talked to a man yesterday. He's still driving his since 1982. He built it, hasn't bought gas or done an oil change on his car. It's his daily driver. He's still driving it as of yesterday, since 1982, Harry.
That's a great car.
Well, no, but like you said earlier, Harry, why? Every time I look at traditional house building, and I do understand, like you're talking about the legalities, the permitting, the codes, the building inspections, all that stuff. I did my own house build on 6.5 acres in 2004. And I'm like you, boy, did I learn. So, Harry, now you know, on the serious side, why I'm going to do a build in the Philippines where actually there's going to be no code. But still, we want to do it right the first time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And in other words, we could be part of the international code on how to do it right the first time, Harry. That's what I recommend to you. Because, I mean, no, what you're doing, other people, there seems to be a small movement. Did you notice it, Harry, since, how many years ago did you start on YouTube? Because I found you early.
Yeah, it's been about 6 years now.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Because I'm about to start my 7th year of contemplating this project. And I said, I'm going to watch people like Aircrete.
Well, I got to tell you, the beauty is with this system is it really is easy. Anyone can do it. There's only a few steps you have to get right, like mounting the airform. Otherwise, all you need is a stucco sprayer to spray. Actually, you don't. Alrighty.
All right. Hey, Harry, you're so pop. Hey, you know how you're pop? You know when you really made a difference? I was talking to a guy inside of China. We got censored by the Chinese government.
Oh yeah! Wow.
Harry, now you know why I'm real cautious on social media. Like I said, if you Google or hashtag Dan the Driving Man, now you'll find out. Because I went national on Fox 2 News. And that's when the craziness weirdos came out of the closets at me.
Yeah.
If you don't have some detractors and some naysayers, Harry, you're not making a big enough impact.
Yeah. I don't remember what I was saying before this guy popped up his nonsense.
Yeah. You were talking about how you had the ideas with the forums, but you were trying to...
Oh, yeah. So I was saying it's really simple for anyone to build. You don't even need any power tools other than the blower to inflate it. You can literally trowel on by hand your cement onto the airform. And it can be that simple to build, to apply. So really, the ideal way is a shotcrete machine, but the next thing would be the stucco sprayer. It's a little more manual labor because you constantly have to scoop or have cement put into your hopper so that you can spray the airform with it. Otherwise, yeah, it's really simple. With a small crew of like 3 people, you could easily like inflate one of these airforms like I'm showing on the screen now and spray it down with your cement and have a structural shell built. You know, use your rebar. You could use a mesh, stucco wire mesh, basalt rebar, regular iron rebar, whatever is available in the area when you're building. And yeah, like I said, $10 to $20 a square foot.
Harry, what's the load capacity on that tube one?
The load capacity on this one?
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what the load capacity is, but it's pretty massive because of you talking about the airform, how much the airform can take, or the actual structure?
No, the actual structure, once it's done, I know it would all depend on how thick you make it and how much reinforcement you put in it. But something like that, would that possibly be able to be buried?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you could absolutely bury one of these structures. I mean, the major reason for that is its shape. You know, number one, you're using cement, concrete, which is under compression, and then you're using an airform that's got a geometry of compression. This one in particular is a hyperbolic paraboloid, so you have the compression in two directions, and so it's extremely strong. And a 2 to 3 inch thick shell could easily carry tons of weight on top of it. So if you wanted to bury it like 3 or even 5 feet under the ground, you wouldn't have an issue with that. It can easily withstand that, so long as you get the right concrete mix. You know, you don't want to have a weak mix.
No.
See, and again, what I'm talking about is concrete reinforced, and then aircrete on top of that as an insulation material. I am not saying one of these structures could be built with aircrete and buried. No, I'm talking about reinforced concrete shell, like a 4,000 or 5,000 psi concrete mix, would be no problem to be buried.
I've contemplated that aspect too. I've seen a couple of guys do the project completed route, but I don't know. Being through tornadoes and typhoon, because here's what I'm looking at here. You gotta have a structure in the right place. Let's just take the wildest typhoon kind of rain like they had out there, where you might see 20 to 40 inches of rain in 24 hours. Worst case scenario.
Right.
So now, my only other concern, Ralph, you can interject if you have any ideas. Harry, what's the survivability as far as earthquakes?
It's extremely high, again, because of the geometry and the materials it's being built with. You know, with the rebar and a mesh. Like, I really am a big fan of applying a mesh to the cement and a rebar, but the mesh is more because it has a smaller openings in the wire. So in other words, when you run rebar, let's just say you're doing a 12-inch spacing, so you'll have rebar horizontally every 12 inches, and then you'll have rebar vertically every 12 inches. That will give you a 12-inch cube with no reinforcement in it. So that's why I really like putting a mesh, whether it's a basalt mesh, fiberglass mesh, or even just stucco wire mesh. I like it because it takes that 12 inches down to maybe a half an inch. So that just means everywhere has reinforcement. So that gives it more strength, more flexibility. So if the earthquake is a big concern, the stucco wire mesh would be what I would push along with rebar, a stucco wire mesh, because that's just going to help to hold everything better together.
An eggshell,
Yeah, right.
Where it's made from an arch. An arch is one of the strongest structures known to man.
Well,
Yeah.
funny you should say that, Ralph. I mean, look at all the domes on the state capitals. Look at what the dome over they keep fighting over for 2,000 years. Even it had to be repaired, I think, after an earthquake. But Harry, that's the other key question: is if there were an earthquake, let's say it's 5.5 to 7.5, even if there were cracks, repairability on infrastructure, what would you recommend, Harry or Ralph?
Well, you could. There are additives now that you could add to cement that would self-heal the concrete, and so these.
Good. That's good. That's good, Harry. Man, you are a kindred spirit. I've been studying that Roman architecture. They're just now doing scientific chemical breakdown studies of how the Romans built that stuff. It's still standing.
Yeah, they're using geopolymer cements. I actually just received some ingredients, some sodium silicate and sodium hydroxide, which are which is one way of making a geopolymer cement. With those
Yeah.
two additives, you can mix with different aggregates. I haven't done it yet, but I just got that stuff in the mail, and I'm going to be experimenting with some geopolymer cements and see how
Yeah.
that works out. But I like that also because yeah, I don't really know the cost yet. I don't know how much it would cost to get these materials in bulk. So those things I have to figure out later after my little experiments. But that's another option. But like I said, right now, if you look under the interview I did with Doug Lacey, he spoke about the additive that he puts in his cement mixes. That's the self healing, and so that's one way to deal with any
That's what
cracking
I
that might
saw.
occur.
Yeah, Harry, that's a good reference because I could tell you. See, I don't watch TV. All I do is research, as you can tell. Yeah, and before I start a project, I'm going to learn everything about the other mistakes other people made before I start mine. So if I make a new mistake, hey, then I'll be no different. I'll tell other people, hey, this works, this doesn't. And I know you've been doing it for 6 years, Harry.
Yeah.
So you guys will know I have the daughter who inherited the EV Kingdom down at EVTV, Cape Girardeau, Missouri. That's where we had our powwow, like we're doing here. And we were just all comparing notes and what's working, what isn't working, what is potential in the future before we do the next thing. And she's revamping it, but she has businesses, dual citizenship, where I'm going in that country of the Philippines, businesses, land, and properties, and they also got hit, Harry. And I mentioned it to her. I got a verbal pending commitment from her because financing is not a problem at all. I think she ordered, ready for this, 5 cyber trucks to be delivered to her. And this is from her dad from years ago, and they added more. I mean, these people are like you, Harry. They're off the chain. They're out of the box. But we're not going to do anything in the traditional realm of normal understanding of the majority of people.
Yeah.
No, you got to, because if you want to, like you said, see, when we do this build, it's not for me. I hope we can do it for between 60 to 100 grand. But I want to build something for this family who's been there for generations and survived. The 7 core people in this man's family. When we're done with it, I'm going to give it to them. It's theirs. So, if we do it successfully, either in Cebu or in the Leyte, region number 8 of the Philippine Islands, then we're going to keep doing it and do it again. But we're not, we don't need a business to produce income. These people, I support them enough to where they can just maintain their living expenses and feed a family of 29 to 30 people. So I'm more in the 501c3, but we're not even doing it through. It's all private. And like I said, the money on everything is going to be upfront. If you've learned this too, Harry, I'm an old Missouri show me state country boy. I'm a cash and carry guy. If I say something, it's money up front, but I'm going to be there with the person or at the point of purchase and get the material back to where it needs to be with it. You know what I mean, Ralph? No subcontracting, no middlemen. So that's kind of the way we do business. Like even our event, I told them down there and they took my advice. I said, let's see who really appreciated your dad. Throw a party and charge us $200 to come. And 38 people came from around the world. 2 years after he died, just to honor him. So, I mean,
Sounds like a good guy.
Yeah. Well, hey, a few of them came back and to thank him and his family and his daughter and the other people involved on the project. And once you get it going, Harry, keep on keeping on. So it sounds like Ralph's giving you some good advice. And if I were you, Harry, I don't know how old you are. I'm 65 and I am retired now, so I could do anything I want to do every day of my life. God willing, I live a few more. Is to be an advisor, Harry, because you know what Ralph will tell you, to own a project, own a company, and do all that stuff, that's great. If you got millions of dollars in backing and you know what you're doing. But if you don't, you're going to spend a
I,
small.
I truly believe being a consultant, Harry, is the way to go, man. You
Yeah.
know, you have lots of knowledge. You have lots of stats on your chemical compounds, and you know what's going on, man. And I
He's an
stand
expert.
behind you 100%.
So, like,
Well, yeah, 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 but that's not the purpose of your mission. You know, your purpose of your mission is to survive, be happy, and share your knowledge with your like-minded mankind. You know,
yeah. I
I
mean,
I
hey,
fall along the same lines. You know, we've paid out so much money in our education, learning our stuff, uh, and you know, I like to give it away freely to those that are willing to learn. You know what I mean?
that's a good point, Ralph. Hey, Harry, the what I learned in my life is as long as it's your passion, Harry, if you wake up every day wanting to do it again, be involved with it, help somebody else who's got a genuine interest, Harry, not curiosity. You know what I mean, Ralph?
I do.
You're gonna have millions of curious people, but where the rubber meets the road, I mean, I drove maybe 2.7, 2.8 million miles to become the driver man. And the
Actions
day,
speak louder than words.
hey, and when but I in the process of the last electric 200,000 plus miles, I gave over 200,000 rides, reduced rides or free rides to people who couldn't afford them or needed help. Hey, and
No,
what I'm saying, Harry, is when you find your passion and once you get in the financial position of life, don't give it away for free, Harry. I mean, you could do a balance of that, but as long as it's something you love to do, you like to do, don't let anybody else or any negativity or condescending people, just don't listen to them, ignore them, block them, mute them, or avoid them, man. Because once you find your purpose, Harry, man, that's why I came on today. It's like don't stop, man. I don't do motivational speaking. I don't teach other people. I just do like you're doing, Harry. Show them by example. But you have value, and let that value fulfill your plans and your goals, your personal goals in your life. Your dream, man, is your goal. They say the day you stop doing what you're doing, creativity and dreaming, you start dying, man. And you're talking to a dead man walking, man. They told me I wouldn't live to be 30. I'm 65, man. And I volunteered in a combat infantry unit back in the 80s, peacetime army, man. I made it. So you know, you just got to keep that attitude of gratitude, man, and keep on keeping on, and listen to a few good voices.
so, do you have any new developments you can share with us, Harry, that you've been working on? Yeah. Oh, that would be awesome. That'd be awesome to be able to load up a box truck or something and roll down to Arizona or New Mexico where it's still kind of warm and you know possible do what we do. Oh yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I seen your sketchy scaffolding you had up. It's like
Oh,
Larry,
Harry,
don't
I just saw. Yeah, I
that's
just
the
saw in the
word.
last. 2 or 3 weeks, I saw on YouTube a build where they did a lift bucket truck kind of thing like that. It had a lift on it. I think it was a man. I don't remember. I can't remember. That's all I do, Harry, is research this stuff, man. I'm a nerd, man. I don't watch TV. I read, research, and talk to people who are smart like you. That's it. No, I mean sometimes you need a little, a little kudos.
Hello, do I have an echo?
A little bit, Ralph.
That wasn't me.
This is Bill.
Oh, hey, Bill, go sound check. 1, 2, 3,
I
sound
have a
check.
question. When using like a basalt mesh, or have you heard of anybody trying to do like a hemp epoxy mesh? I heard you can actually make PVC out of hemp oil.
That's true. Henry Ford had the trunk of the Ford car back in the 40s was made from a plastic made from hemp oil. And yeah, it's completely possible. I mean, I don't have a clue as to how that works, but it is possible.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there's anybody out there trying to manufacture with hemp, do this type of mesh and basalt.
I haven't heard of anybody doing that.
Yeah, me neither.
And I did see one guy who said you can pour like concrete, watery stuff over screen material.
Yeah.
Oh, he was doing it over a dome, a zip tie dome.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah, I mean that's one way to do it. There's a lot of ways to build. I'm not saying mine's the best. I'm just saying mine's the best for me.
Well, I'm pretty sure yours will pass code in every county in America where that kind of technique won't.
Yeah, I agree.
Is the fastest production per dollar that I've seen so far. And that's what I'm really impressed with his different compounds that he uses, and he's actually able to get it engineered now. Man, that's incredible.
Well, thank you for answering my question. Hopefully we can get some manufacturing in those type of materials.
Yeah, it'll be great to have whatever works best. It's least expensive. My whole thing, like with the hemp fibers, is when I was trying to source some, I just found them still to be too expensive to build using hemp fibers. I haven't checked recently. I don't know if prices have dropped, if maybe there's another supplier of hemp fibers. But yeah, that was the main thing for me. I was like, I'll stick with basalt because it was actually less money for me, and I'm more familiar with working with that stuff.
Now, isn't basalt stronger than steel rebar?
That's what they say. They say it's stronger. It's definitely lighter, easier to work with.
Iron is like 8 times stronger per volume.
Yeah, it could definitely be. I'm not sure exactly how much stronger, but it's definitely it's definitely.
Yeah, I just started studying it literally in the past month. The basalt rebar. I think for both strength and longevity with the non-rusting feature is because I'm with you, Harry. I want to build something that's going to last 50 to 100 years or more, for this family. Right. Trying to think of, the, how have you been doing, Harry, with the electrical pre-wiring? Conduit tubing like PVC pipe and then just slide it through, or what do you recommend for the like interior of the domes for the electrical wiring?
I like the idea where with the Aircrete blocks, you just come back in with a router and just route it out and put your wiring in there, set your boxes, and then mix up some mud and spackle right over it. I like that idea, but you got to have the softer Aircrete for that.
I don't know if what's the
My
project?
property is on a hillside. It's not really steep, but I intend to do like a tri-level dome home system, and I'll have little domes for like the bedrooms and
Well, what we're looking at ideally with this family, there's 7 in the core family and 29 altogether. Is maybe do 3 or 4 and use one with the center as kind of the common area with the kitchen, and let it double as an emergency shelter. Because there, with the earthquake possibility is small, but the typhoon, they average 10 to 14 different levels, 1, 2, 3, or 4 typhoons every 12 months in our area. So my biggest concern is it's got to be up. We used to call it the military crest. It's got to be up on a hill to avoid flooding. And we're not anywhere near anymore the tidal surge zones. They finally wised up after over 10,000 people died in this one city there.
Wow.
That they could not rebuild there. I mean, it's just unimaginable the impact that storm had in that region. And they're still struggling to recover a decade later.
I remember there was that one dome home in Florida, and the whole neighborhood was wiped out, except for that one. And it was like a 2-story dome home, and it had breakaway doors, but the
Yeah, check your audio, Ralph, if you can hear me. Are you there, Harry?
Yeah, can you hear me? Okay, so everything's done.
Earth to Harry. Hello.